before we take calls. You start off with a little helpful advice. You said networking is a really important thing, right?
Yeah, networking is important, and most people think to talk to their friends and maybe people they've worked with, but what I tell people to do is think of two other sources. One is people you write checks to. Think about maybe an attorney, your dentist, where I'm headed next, by the way, a doctor. It could be any of those folks, because they also know other professionals and people who are business leaders. And one other thing to think about is, where did you go to school? People maybe in the same fraternity, maybe in the same organization, whether it's a social or a civic club or church or any of those organizations. People are more apt, more likely to try to help you if they share a common interest or a common experience with you.
Always looking for different places to look for help. Jennifer is on the line this morning. She's got a question for us. Good morning, Jennifer.
Hi.
Hi.
This afternoon, I actually have an interview this afternoon. And it is with a panel of interviewers for a detention officer. This is something I have never done. I'd just like a few tips on how to handle that in a professional manner.
A couple of points. If you've never done the job before and you're in the interview, then if they've looked at your resume, they know you haven't done it. So that alone shouldn't be a reason not to hire you. And what you might want to do is ask them when you're in the interview, you say, hey, look, you've looked through my resume, you've seen my application. What was it about your resume, my resume, that caught your eye? In other words, get them thinking about the positives that you do have. And then the other side, which is fairly obvious, but it talks about transferable skills and what have you done in your prior jobs that would be transferable to this job. So between those two things, you hopefully can bridge the gap.
Lisa's on the line with a question. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. How are you?
Just fine. Doing well.
My question would be, if you are in the process of looking for a new job, if you're in that deadbeat in job, how would you go about looking for a new career with, I know we don't have a lot of job opportunities open for us. How do we go about finding that perfect job for us?
The search for the perfect job.
It's a big question.
The grass is not always greener. In all honesty, what I would do is I would sit down and say, what do I like about what I do now? Is it working with people? Is it having finality to a project where you can see a beginning and an end to something? Do you like to travel? Or do you want a job that just is sort of an 8 to 5 thing where you can go home and forget about it? You punch out and you say, you know, won't worry about it until the next day. Think about the things you like, and then go talk to people who have jobs that are like that, and find out what they like, how they got involved with it, and what suggestions they might have if you wanted to pursue it. So that might be a way to get a sense for some of the pros and cons of something before you dive in or go back to school or do whatever you feel you need to get that job. Quick story, I had a client one time who had worked in manufacturing and felt like he wanted to get into a teaching environment. He got his degree, went and got his master's degree, but yet never had bothered to talk to teachers to find out what money they earn, what their lifestyle was like. He invested all that time and money only to find that it wasn't a fit for him. And now he's too educated to go back to working in the blue-collar world, and so nobody would hire him. He was sort of at a crossroads. What do I do?
I had somebody say one time, everybody's looking for answers. Well, you got to ask a lot of questions before you start getting answers. So you need to ask those questions first. Marlene's on the line with a question. Good morning, Marlene.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. I've always done physical labor, and due to back problems and fibromyalgia, I'm going to have to change my line of work.
Yes.
Been out of work 5 years. How do I go about re-entering the workforce and be honest about my limitations and still get a job?
I don't know how much the government helps. I know in some cases where people have been laid off, they will help to provide retraining. And that might be one thing to do, is to connect with a local community college or a local school to find out what jobs you could become educated toward that wouldn't require that physical labor. Computers could be one. There could be any number of those. But I think that's what I might do, is I might approach a school and find out what options exist, because you can't be the first person that has decided to make a change. And yours is driven by a physical need, but others could be driven by just burnout, frustration, or whatever.
Okay, we are out of time for now, but you got a website if people want to get in touch with you as well?
Yeah, woodengroup.com. And a quick note, a new project that Wooden Group is working on. There's a huge, huge need, Brad, for help for college grads as they enter the workforce. The placement offices try to do a good job, but yet I see it constantly in businesses tell me we need help in that area. So what we're doing is putting a partnership together between corporations and colleges. And so if there are people involved with higher education and also people in business who would like to become involved in that in some way, just have them email me, randy@woodengroup.com, and I can share the information with them. But I'm excited about the project. There's a big need for it, and we're looking forward to
and all those college graduates agree there is a big need for it.
Big need for it. Huge
Randy,
need.
thanks very much.